young person, 12 years old, coming out of a cage. That laid the foundation for building this campaign, which then kind of just through the constant conversations and constant research and doing outreach and doing teach-ins, but before anything could happen, we started doing focus groups. So doing a focus, so how do we even talk about this thing? Because surveillance and national security can get very complex. So having a conversation with members of Youth Justice Coalition, young people, 12 years old, 14 years old, going to freedom schools, black and brown kids, coming out of juvenile detention facilities, coming out of jails, that what does this mean to you? And that kind of helped us in having a conversation, and then also building that relationship as well, that okay, who's going to be on the front lines, who's the most impacted? So broadening that scope of the impacted community. Talking to transgender folks, that what does this policy of suspicious activity report mean to you in your daily life? Talking to Skid Row residents, like what does this suspicious activity report mean to you? Talking to undocumented, and how does it make you even more vulnerable? So starting in January of 2011, the first public event, I mean, it went through about, I'd say about 45 or so different teach-ins and outreach events, doing 10 different focus groups with different populations of people. But in the meantime, bringing people together, slowly building that intersectional movement as well, slowly building that intersectional campaign, that it culminated into our first public event in March of this year, March 2nd, having a town hall meeting. And for people who'd been doing this work for a long time, they felt that's the most diverse audience they'd ever seen. Because here a national security initiative is being talked about, and less than 20 people identified themselves as Muslims out of 215 people. Not that people were not coming. It was just like a majority of the people in this town hall were blacks. African Americans comprised, there were about 80 African Americans. No, actually more than 100 African Americans. There was at least about 20 or 25 homeless folks in there, many undocumented youth. So it sort of went to show that there's a way that we talk about intersectionality, we talk about movement building, but there's a way to build that momentum as well. Two things happened. That LAPD, of course, was tracking us. So before March 3rd, we received an email from LAPD's counterterrorism division on February 13th. And it says, we see that you're having a town hall, and by the way, Special Order 11 has been now superseded, and now there's a new special order as of January of this year. So what does that show? That through this whole process, organizations that have been working with LAPD, and ACLU and some Muslim organizations, they were under the impression that any changes they were expecting would happen with they'd be negotiated. Next thing you know, LAPD tells everybody to fuck off, and as the cops do, and come up with a new order. Nothing changes. Instead of 41 orders, they have condensed it into 16 orders. So now all of a sudden people are pissed off. And we're
behaviors? You mean behaviors?
I'm sorry, 16 behaviors. They condensed them from 41 to 16. So in a way, I'm sorry?
This was not a victory for you guys?
No, this was not a victory.
No.
This was an LAPD tactic to shift focus. Yes,
and were those 16 behaviors, did they become more vague or were they more focused?
They actually even became more vague.
Right.
Yeah. And what they did was, the only change they brought about was that the suspicious activity reporting before Special Order 1 up until January of this year was on the investigative report form. There was a separate column in there. Now they said it's going to be a standalone report. Everything else they did a flip on language, and and the other thing they did was that the language shifted from observed behavior or reasonable indication to suspicious behavior, which could be deemed suspicious by a reasonable person, whatever that definition is, which is like this legal myth that a reasonable person, what is it? And then they said it meets these federal standards that the Office of Director of National Intelligence has created as well. All bullshit. I mean, complete glossing over everything else. Yes, ma'am.
What was the specific LAPD department that you said sent you that email?
This is from the counterterrorism division. Yeah. This is there's about LAPD has a large counterterrorism division. I mean, and I'll get to that in a second as well. It's hugely funded. It has anywhere from 300 to 400 full-time LAPD officers staffing that thing too. And this is all coming through research as well. Although they again lied. They just so anyways, So then we get an email that we would like to come to the town hall. And we're like, hell no, you're not gonna come to our town hall and make a presentation. This is a community event. The community is gonna make a decision when we wanna meet with you or what our next steps are going to be. We get another email from the deputy chief of LAPD, who was in the running to be the chief, Mike Downing, who's the commander of the counterterrorism division, that, hey Hamid, I have cleared up my Saturday and I'll bring my SARS team with me. Why don't you go play golf? And but thanks, but no thanks. We can't. I mean, obviously we can't stop you, but but we're not going to invite you. So we do the town hall, and unanimously, as we talk about it, and the town hall had, out of the hour and 45 minutes, it was carried live by Pacifica Radio.
Wow.
So there's if you go to the website www.stopLAPDspying.org, there's a 1 hour of live recording of the town hall as well on the website. You can listen to that. It was unanimous. People just came out and they said, "There's no way that we're gonna ask for any reform," because that was one of the principles, guiding principles, that you can't reform anything. As one of the speakers from Shura Council, Shakil Sayyid, said, that you can filter poison, but poison still remains. So there's no way you can limit yourself by saying that if you take these non-criminal behaviors out of this thing, it's going to be fine, because the analysis here is that suspicious activity report is nothing more than a pretext to open investigations. It's a pretext to open secret files on people. It's a pretext for data mining and collecting unlimited amount of data. And unlike COINTELPRO and the Red Squads and all these, police, public disorder intelligence division, how many people know about the Red Squads? These were the secret police squads who were infiltrating and smearing and just going after people. And LA was known for that. In the 70s and early 80s, this is all documented, and if you go to our website, it's all downloadable. There's a whole timeline of Red Squads. There were 200 social justice organizations that were infiltrated by LAPD in the 70s and early 80s. The office of the sitting mayor, and this is again documented, Tom Bradley, who was the first black mayor in Los Angeles, his office was infiltrated. The office of sitting council members, their offices were infiltrated as well, and all their names are right there. So I would suggest, if you ever get a chance, Frank Donner, he did a tremendous amount of research. His book is called The Protectors of Privilege, and he traces the history of Red Squads, for the last century and a half. So in essence, we basically told them that, no, you can't come. Next thing you know, they said, all right, so now LAPD is feeling the heat, because they're used to speaking to a couple of organizations. They're used to defining who the gatekeepers of this information is going to be. And now all of a sudden they see this thing, this kind of groundswell building, and they said, oh, okay, so maybe we'll be a little transparent and maybe we can have a symposium on this thing. Now, how many times have police departments have had a symposium on their secret, suspicious, all right, this is very interesting. So the first day the symposium gets, rescheduled, and finally the symposium took place on April 26th. Now, the issues that emerged out of that was that, unfortunately, because LAPD has granted this gatekeeper status to some of the organizations, so there were these tensions as a result of what the ask is going to be. The Stop LAPD Spying Coalition remained firm that, no, we're asking to rescind these policies. There is no way we're going to accept these policies. Because there were two reasons. One, that this campaign is not just about the special orders. It has started this conversation on police infiltration and police spying. It has kind of just re-emerged this conversation around that. There's already been 2 op-eds in LA Sentinel on this campaign as well, which is the largest newspaper serving the African American community that knows what police infiltration and day-to-day abuse and brutality means, right? So in essence, when we go to the symposium, Mike Downing starts off by saying that ACLU has given us their blessing, basically, and you were sitting there. And George was in there too. And now it's like, what do you mean? They said, well, and name names. And this is what happens when you're in bed with the devil. They named the Muslim Public Affairs Council.
Whoa.
And I mean, organizations too, but that's besides the point. The point was that I think it's a lesson to be learned here. And the lesson is, there's an old saying, and I'll try to retranslate that from Punjabi to English, that you can put a dog's tail in a state pipe, but even after 20 years it'll come out curved. You can't change the color. I mean, it's as simple as that. Because there is no way you can trust the police department. Because it is designed to be violent. It's in the DNA of police department to be violent. Because they are there to enforce laws. There is no way that you can partner with the police department, whether it's LAPD. And LAPD is one of the most largest counterinsurgency forces in the country. Again, documented. I've been working with a group who are developing an anthology on counterinsurgency, and somebody was talking about counter stuff as well. That there were 70 Marines assigned to LAPD before they went to Iraq. And they used the strategies that they learned from LAPD in the Al-Anbar province. El Salvador paramilitary folks were trained by LAPD. So this is the DNA that we are looking at. This is the group that we are looking at, which is designed to be violent. So in essence, where we are right now, that so we had by the way, before April 26th, we had the town hall. On March 9th, because we had planned our first public rally and protest, and then we started doing banner drops on top of the freeway. And about a 10-foot banner, it's 6 foot tall, on top of the freeway, Hollywood freeway stays, stop LAPD spying. And people are driving and they haven't seen anything like this before. Like, stop LAPD spying, what does it really mean? And then we filed the Public Records Act request on April 9th, a comprehensive Public Records Act, to find out as to what it is and to really keep on pushing and challenging the system. On April 10th, we had a rally and a press conference, and we went to the police commission meeting. For the first time, the police commission changed its schedule because 40 community members walked in and they said, we want to make a comment now. They kind of looked at each other, and then they changed their public comment to early on. 25 people spoke, 2 minutes each, and each one of them demanded that they rescind this thing. So now, as a result of it, LAPD had this symposium, which was again a dog and pony show, right? But now they want to follow up with some more conversations as well. And last night I got some more emails as to where these things are. So the groups that are part of this thing are the Dream Team Los Angeles, Youth Justice Coalition, Los Angeles Community Action Network, Gender Justice LA, Sin Frontera, Interfaith Communities United, and Justice and Peace, and LASE, who are doing transnational kind of organizing as well, and numerous others. About 20 groups that have joined the coalition. A lot of individual members. The Occupy folks come in as well, so to join the festivities when we have them. So in essence, I think what's happened is that we're trying to mainstream this language of spying and infiltration and smear and the history of spying that has been going on for many, many years. So I'm going to stop right there. Otherwise, I'll keep on talking.